Thanks for inviting me to this podcast today, Candace.
So I'm glad you're here. So
Glad to be here. Thanks for talking me into this.
I was going to say.
You know how much I love speaking in front of a camera.
And
So,
microphones.
and microphones.
And being the center of attention.
Yep, you know how much I love that.
Well, as a little girl, you did love it. I've got lots of footage of you wanting to be the center of attention. You were adorable when you were little. So Tanya's my sister. And Taunya, tell people a little bit about who you are.
So, what all do you want to know, Candace?
Just kind of think your audience on this is like your nephews and nieces.
Okay.
A little bit. So tell them who you are.
Okay. Well, I'm Taunya Barbara Turpin. I was named after my great aunt. She was an incredible woman. She never married, but she led a very service-oriented life. She was always thinking about others. In fact, she was the first person who came and gave me my luggage set and kind of gave me a love for travel. I love to travel. I love to meet new people. I'm not one, like I said, I'm not one that loves to be the center of attention, but I love to learn about other people and I love to learn about their stories. And it's interesting how the Lord has placed me in different areas to help me to be able to grow. I've always been kind of maybe more naturally quiet and reserved, but the Lord...
no, you aren't. You laugh.
I laugh. I guess I have to be around the right people to feel, but I'm not one that really loves to speak up in an audience. But He's given me opportunities to learn and to grow and to meet people, some incredible people, and use some of my talents to bless the lives of others, and people have blessed my life as well. So
when you say you've been given opportunities like to hear stories, like what to talk more to that?
Serving a mission, I guess, was one of those things. I never thought in a million years somebody who doesn't love to go up to complete strangers and talk to them, where He gave me an opportunity to serve a mission where I knock on strangers' doors and get to talk to them, and I've met companions and people from all over the world. That was definitely an opportunity that He gave me, and He helped me to stretch and to grow through that process. Another thing is where I'm at in my career.
I want you to know we went to England together, which is where she served a mission, and she... I was like, what are you doing? She knocked, it was like an old ancestors inn. I'm like, we should go there. She's like, I want to go inside. So she knocks on the door. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're on a stranger's door. But
I guess I have those moments where my curiosity is stronger than my fear, I guess. And that was definitely one of those experiences where I was like, I just want to know more about where I come from, and I want to know about these ancestors. And I guess having served a mission in England, it's definitely opened up more doors for that as well, and learning about those who have passed on to the other side, and having those opportunities.
And we've had some moments with that.
We have had some really neat moments with that.
Like literally, like where, not that you love like genealogy, I think, in the research part of it, but what is it that's made that resonate for you?
I think that summer that I lived with you, there in Bountiful, I started reading through some letters through I think it's the Perkins side, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I think it was the Perkins. The aunt that wrote those letters. And I was like, I just want to know more about these people. And I think it's because I had served a mission in England that I wanted to know more about them. And that kind of led to more doors opening, and we were able to find some names and see them be able to progress, and you know that they're very much real, those people on the other side, and that they can help us.
Do you remember a moment in the cemetery there in Ecton, England?
Yeah, how we found their
Yeah, they were orphaned, our ancestors, and I'm talking to Nye, I'm looking just because there she is. Just because then I think people will get the context of, and we were just like, man, we want to find these people who raised our grandmother. It was an aunt and uncle, and like this cemetery is just a mess. And we're like, it would be so cool if we could like find their tombstones and like kind of honor them, before we left. She married a butcher, and she ran off with the butcher. She was a gentleman's daughter, and so the gentleman's, yeah.
Hmm.
Tell us about that moment. Did
I
you
don't
find
remember.
them?
I don't
Do you
remember
that?
like their stories entirely. I'd have to go back
But do
and
you
relearn
remember
them.
the cemetery moment?
But I do remember the cemetery moment, and I remember finding them, and I really felt like they wanted to be found.
Right.
And I think it goes both ways, right? As we learn more about them, yeah, that we're here to help each other, right?
Yeah. She served her whole mission, not realizing that's where our family had come from. One of these days, Naya's gonna find out. She's gonna want that.
Yeah.
She's gonna be like, go to Spain. You're gonna love it.
Anyways, so I think, yeah, just having served a mission and then being able to go back to England with you and being able to find those ancestors and being able to learn a little bit more about them helps us to connect and learn more about ourselves. So that was kind of a cool experience.
Yeah. Those letters were pretty cool because she was a very religious woman. That seemed to really love God, and she would write to our grandmother who'd moved off to the Canada, and often expressed her love, to her sister, and just hoped she was well. So you loved England.
Loved England.
You loved connecting with people there.
Yep. And then just my job that I do, I work as a physical therapist assistant. So I'm constantly working with different people that come from all different backgrounds, have all different stories. And I love to listen to their stories. And sometimes I've had some very spiritual moments with people as they open up and as they share some of the things that they've been through. I think hearing their stories helps me realize, I have life pretty good, and also to realize that it's through our struggles that we learn and we grow the most. And I've learned that time and time again working with different people as they are able to share some of their struggles. And it's not just, they come in, yes, with maybe a total knee replacement or a shoulder that's needed to be replaced, but it goes much deeper than that it goes much deeper than somebody's knee or somebody's shoulder. But just knowing that they have a story too that needs to be told. And some not all people go that deep with me, but sometimes they do.
What's your story that needs to be told?
My story, I guess, is that everybody has worth and everybody has value. I guess it's taken me a long time to realize, like I said, I was that shy, quiet girl. For the longest time, I thought that's all I am. What value and what purpose and what talents have I been given to be able to help bless other people? And I guess having these experiences and these moments of going to England, the Lord directing me in a career path, realizing that I have talents and abilities that need to be shared, and that I can be an instrument in His hands if I'm willing to listen to Him, knowing that I am a daughter of God, and that I have purpose, and that should be my number one label, that I am His daughter, and that He loves me, and He wants me to be able to love others. And I think that is a gift that He has given to me, to be able to love other people if I'm open to it. Not always. Sometimes I'm like, this person's really annoying me right now.
I've heard that so much.
But yes, just different people that you meet and just these different relationships that we have.
This way? Better?
Yeah.
There you go.
Just put it, where hers is, so towards.
Kind of in the
bring it
corner.
right there.
Yeah.
It's
Sorry,
like catching it, but
Brian.
it's catching the echo of her mic.
Oh, shoot. Sorry.
Very good.
Boy, that's like being funky. Hang on a second. Better?
Yeah,
Like right there?
yeah.
Okay.
We can handle the chords later
Okay.
to see
Yeah.
how it works.
Yeah.
But continue.
No, it's good.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
So it was you.
But
It was you trying to figure out what's my purpose then.
yeah, kind of what's my purpose? Because
my
for the
role?
longest time, people when they talk about me, they would just say, "Oh, she's the really quiet and shy girl," and so that's really kind of what I thought I was, you know. And I think just
I guess I've never experienced that because I've been your sister.
yeah, and
so
you probably haven't seen that side of me, but like. It took a lot for me. It takes a lot for me to like open up to people. I am probably naturally more a private.
You're British.
I'm British. That's why I went to England, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but to realize, hey, he has given me different gifts and talents and abilities to be able to help people. You know, maybe it's not going to be that I'm going to be this amazing, you know, public speaker or you know, different things like that. But like I said, when I'm open to it, he's definitely helped me to be able to feel that love for other people and to share some of my humor with them or just to be able to listen to them. I think listening is a huge thing. And anyways.
So, what's kind of been like one of your greatest joys as you've had these connections with people?
One of my greatest joys.
Yeah, just like what helped you finally get to this place of I matter and I do have value and I can see that I bring value to people.
Yeah, I think just seeing how much you're able to help somebody else. That brings me a lot of joy in life.
So like with the physical therapy or
physical therapy or just in general, whether it's people at church, like, hey, I can reach out to the one and I can share my testimony with them and I can help serve them, whether it's, hey, I'm going to go help this person move, and that brings me joy knowing, hey, I was able to help that person move, or hey,
or listen to that person. I heard you say that you're making me tired.
Yeah, or just listening to that one that maybe feels like they're a little bit of, you know, an outcast too.
Sure.
Because I think we've all had moments where maybe we feel like we've been the outcast, I think we all feel that from time to time, and just realizing that other people feel that way and being like, okay, I can be maybe that bright spot in somebody else's day to day, whether it's telling them a dad joke or you know, listening to them.
I wish we could capture your humor because you are one of the funniest people I know. That just makes your poetry. Tell people about your poems.
I like to write poems.
So give us an example of a Taunya poem.
I don't know. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I like to write little poems. Like, I like to write cards. I like to write notes to people. Just say, hey, I'm thinking of you, and then I'll say like a cheesy poem like, hey, I hope your day is so... I can't think of it off the top of my head, Candace, but I like to rhyme.
If you're lucky to have gotten a Taunya poem, they're pretty awesome. Yeah.
Anyways, so just something that like brings a smile to somebody else's face, and I think humor is a great way to use that.
Yeah, you're good at it. So are there any specific people who've come into your life that have really made a difference to you?
Oh yeah, I think, how do you just pick one? And it's interesting how I think the Lord sends different people into your life just when you need it. Yeah. Just this last year, it's kind of been a year of like highs and lows. We all have them. That's part of life. That's how we learn. It's how we grow. But just this last year, I was laid off of my job kind of out of the blue. I had worked with these people for 5 years, and my boss let me go. He just didn't have enough work to keep us all busy. So I was laid off the beginning of about a year ago, last January. And just feeling like, man, I worked so incredibly hard for you. Like, how could you do this? You know, that was my initial thought, was like, how could you do this to me? But it ended up being, honestly, one of the best things that I think could have ever happened, because definitely the Lord, I feel like, led me to where I'm at now. which, not that my old job was terrible or anything, but this job where I'm at, and I feel like the people I'm with now is a much better fit for me. You know, it's just everybody meshes different with different personalities, and I feel like where I'm at now was way better fit than where I was at. But during this process of being unemployed and feeling a little like, oh man, life is hard sometimes, I remember one day, just out of the blue, an old coworker who I hadn't probably talked to for probably 5-7 years just calls me up out of the blue asking, "Hey Taunya, I was just thinking about you today, and I was just wondering, how are you doing?" And we just talked, and she is definitely one of those people who just thinks about other people and was a real light in my life during that time when I worked with her, and just that she was in tune enough to, because it was a hard day. I was just feeling pretty low, pretty blue, and she called me up, and she was definitely has been a light. She's just very kind and thoughtful, and equally as fun too. You know, I just, some people.
Is this the one that sent me all that stuff, or different?
No, this is a different person. This is Sky. Her name is Sky. But Jess is an incredible person. Just very service oriented herself, and inspires me to be a better person. So she's definitely one of those people that the Lord's allowed me to meet. And
so really, you're saying just she saw the good in you, and she helped lift you.
Yeah.
And that was.
Just as a friend, you know, just has always been like a good friend. Even when we worked together, we'd go out hiking, or we'd go do, you know, not all the time, but occasionally when we could, we'd go do a few things together outside of work. So yeah, just a real blessing in my life. And my family is definitely one of those people for me. Siblings and the parents that I have and the nieces and nephews I have, they are definitely all lights in my life. I hate to think where I'd be if I didn't have the family support.
Yeah.
Because I'm single, I'm not married or anything, so like having that support system's huge, and having family.
We've been able to connect on that, haven't we?
Yeah.
That's been the journey for both of us.
Yeah.
But different. I mean.
Different for both of us, but I can't imagine if we didn't have the family that we do, where I would be. You know.
Yep.
You know, to have those siblings and people that I can call up and just be like, you know what, I'm having a hard day, you know, or just that we can laugh, we can smile, we can
go hike.
We can go hike together. We can go do fun things together.
We've traveled a bit together.
We've traveled together. Yep. So definitely family is that for me. And yeah, I think just there's so many different people.
Tell a little bit about just your connection with some of your nephews and nieces and what that's been like.
Oh man, I love our nieces and nephews. We have some of the best.
You were telling me today a little bit about a moment you'd had with one of our nieces that's in college right now.
Oh, with Claire?
In the Tetons, yeah.
In the Tetons, yeah. So I love that they like to hang out with me, first of all. That's great. But yeah, Claire called me up. She had worked up in Island Park this last summer, and she wanted to go to the Tetons before she left for college. She's down in college right now, down in Cedar City, and she wanted to go hiking up in the Tetons. So she's like, "Taunya, you want to go with me?" So we did. We went up and we hiked up to Delta Lake, and that was a lot of fun. And I love Claire. She gets my humor. And I get hers. So we laugh and have a good time, and even got. We had this little chickmunk that liked to follow us around at lunchtime, and I was freaking out. And so it would not leave us alone. At one point, we were just sitting there eating lunch, and at one point it came over and it sat on Claire's lap, and I lost it. I was like, "That's it, Claire, we're leaving." And I started screaming, and
So not chipmunks for you. Okay.
No, not that one. Usually you can brush them away, and they'll but this one was pretty aggressive. He wanted that trail mix very much. So So I was like, Claire, we're out. We're going. And he started to follow us, and I even was chucking rocks at him, and I was like, you just won't leave us alone. And as we're hiking down the trail, I was like, Claire, it's a good thing we didn't run into a bear today, because if I was reacting that way with a chipmunk, I think we'd both be toast. We'd be dead right now if we ran into a bear. So
Chipmunks can't rip you to shreds.
yeah,
That's
so
good.
I absolutely love our nieces and nephews, and I love just being able to, and that was really fun that day, just spending some one-on-one time with Claire. Also, earlier that summer, I got to go to Yellowstone with Claire and just spend some one-on-one time with Claire that day too. And
When you came on this trip down here to Arizona, I thought you've spent time with your nephews here, right?
yeah,
And then,
yeah, Levi made a list of things he wanted to do with me.
Did you do it all?
We still need to go swimming.
Okay.
He's mentioned that one several times,
Uh-huh.
but just being able to spend that time with him, and even our nephew Connor came about a month or so ago, spent the night with me, and I took him to the
really?
airport.
To your house. Huh?
Took him to the airport the next day, and
When you went to Brazil.
just when he went down to Brazil, but just being able to just talk to Connor and see how he's doing, and just have that one-on-one with Connor was. I was like, this is just what it's all about, right? Is these one-on-one times that you have with people. And I sure love Connor, and just the things that he's trying to do.
Still dating that girl?
Still dating her, and yep, we had conversations about that, and and then just Lance and Jill left for Mexico a couple weeks ago, and I got to spend some time with Brindley and Marion, and I got to do. Have you ever played Just Dance before? On the Wii?
Yes, because I've been to Lance and Jill's house.
Yeah, so Marion wanted to do that, so we played that. We just sat there and danced, and of course I just laughed the whole time because I'm like, I just feel silly. Can't hit the arrows, and so you get a good ab workout from laughing too. So that was a lot of fun, and I just love those girls, and
good.
So yeah, family is huge.
That's good. And you said coworkers. I mean, just different people who've come into your life then.
Yeah, just at different times, and life would be really hard if you didn't have people in it. Like, we're not meant to do. I keep thinking about this. We're really not meant to do this life alone.
Right.
And we need each other. And it was interesting. I had a conversation with a patient who isn't necessarily. He's Christian, but he's not a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints or anything. But even just as I was able to have this conversation with him, he was just kind of able to share like his testimony of, hey, we're children of God and we're loved very much so by a loving Heavenly Father who is very much aware of our struggles, and it's through our struggles that we learn and we grow. And I just thanked him that morning. I said, hey, thank you so much for like sharing that. I needed to hear that this morning. You have no idea. Like, I was kind of having a rough morning. And he equally said, thank you so much for the things you shared with me. And he made the comment, he's like, we need each other's light. We need to be able to share our testimonies with one another. And
why does that matter? Like, I mean,
because
why is that so important?
It's so important that we share that light with each other, because we need it to strengthen our own.
So, but why that connection to God?
For me,
what have you learned in that?
Oh, that connection to God and that relationship with God is everything. Because if you know who you are and you know that you're a daughter of God, it makes going through this life so much easier, and it gives you purpose. And knowing that He is the source of all light, that's where it all comes from. As we turn to Him, I think it helps us to turn our hearts to one another, and
that's the motivation.
And to feel, as we love Him, I think it helps us, anyways, as we feel of His love, we can love others more, I think, and see others more for who they are, understanding that they too are a child of God.
Have you had moments where you feel like you've seen people in a different light?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Even just talking to this this man the other day as I just was like, wow, this is an incredible man who's had some incredible experiences that I needed to hear.
Mm.
Yeah, and I think definitely it helps. I've had moments where maybe you don't see that person like at that moment as a child of God, where you're like, this person is really making me upset right now, and like, but I think, for example, I guess maybe on the mission you don't always see eye to eye with certain companions that you had, and
just came from different.
You come from different
very
backgrounds, different things, And I remember, one particular companion, maybe we didn't always see eye to eye, and so I was kind of, I hate to say it, but pretty excited the day I got transferred from this companion, only to find a few months later that I would be serving with this companion again, and I was like,
You lucky duck.
I was like, oh no, I cannot do this, and but I think the Lord needed to teach me a lesson. And I saw and I prayed hard for one. I was like, please just help me to be able to see her a little better, help me to like understand her a little better. And I think that's the best thing that could have happened, was that I served with her again, because I came to love her. And I think that if we pray for that, like, he can help show us, like, wow, she actually has some pretty incredible qualities that maybe I was too blinded to see before, because I I saw her human nature and her weaknesses. I didn't see who she really was. And I think the Lord was able to teach me that through that experience. And actually, when I came home from my mission, she was one of the first people to call me and just be like, hey, you're home. And I was just happy to see her, and I just love her. And so I think if we're open to it, he can help take some of those barriers down. And we can
just to see people
how that he sees them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
that's a gift. I thought the world sure would be a better place, wouldn't it, if we could see each other.
Like I said, if I'm open to it, not always am I. So
yeah. What closes you off?
I think sometimes when you do see people, or you're like, why is this person being so mean right now, Or, they're not treating me very good, so I don't want to treat them very good.
Yeah.
And then maybe to take a step back and be like, well, maybe they're just having a bad day. Or maybe they're...
Or a bad year.
Or a bad year. I think we all have bad days. We all have bad years.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I snap at people when I shouldn't,
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Maybe being able to take a step back and pray to, hey, please help me to see this person in a better light. So.
Well, let me tell you, Taunya, this is a thought. I may try this with future podcasts, but I think in terms of my connection with you, obviously you're my sister.
Mm-hmm.
And she was my first sister after I'd had like 6 brothers. Or 5 brothers. So I'm like, I'm never going to have a sister again. And I literally didn't believe when she came home from the hospital. Like, no, it's another brother. I know it. It's not a sister. And just how fun that was to finally get another sister in the mix in our family. And, I didn't have a whole lot of years with you while we lived together there, but I always just loved when I came home. You were that little light for me that made me just feel like, hey, you were so happy to see me when I'd come home and visit from college or whatever. And just you made me feel so good about like somebody cares about me, and just you've always been that person of light, even as we've traveled together. I mean, we've done quite a bit of that in our single years, and just because it's fun. We've been to a lot of places. We've laughed. We've been frustrated, been tired, with each other. But I think I sure have life is much sweeter with you in it. I hope you know that. And like even like this trip, right, where you clipped my toenails of all gross things. Like, late at night after watching A Quiet Place, you know, I'm like so, and just where we could just laugh together. I love that about you. Just the laughter and just that goodness that you bring in that. You can see the light side of things where sometimes I'm like, oh man, I have cancer. I'm gonna die like a girl in the movie. You know, and I'm like, just where you're like, you know, life is good. Let me clip your toenails. I just love that about you. And I'm sure everyone that gets to be lucky enough to have Taunya and Turpin work on them, you know, up in Idaho Falls, Idaho, you know, they are lucky to have you. And that light I'm sure you bring to them. So, sure love you. And there we have it. 9, did we get to the nugget?
I feel like we did.
I think we did too.
I think we did.
So, I think good enough, Ton? Do you think
Yeah.
there's anything else you want to share?
No, I think that's
And
plenty.
record?
No, that's plenty.